Welcome to Season 3, Episode 9 of Angela Watson's Truth for Teachers. I'm your host, Angela Watson, and I'm here to speak life, encouragement, and truth into the minds and hearts of educators and get you energized for the week ahead. Today, I'm going to share some thoughts on rewarding students in a responsible way using the Nowthat principle. Visit truthforteachers.com to get the transcript, links to recommended resources, and to share your thoughts on the show in the comments. So in last week's episode, I explained why reward is not a bad word, and I argued my case for why they can be an integral part of your classroom. I tell about how a district administrator criticized me during a surprise walkthrough, and why I think that teachers, of all people, should know how detrimental it is to morale to be expected to work hard in a place where they're not recognized or appreciated for their efforts. We do not want to create that same culture in our classrooms. So if you have a problem with rewards or you just want to know why I think rewarding students is appropriate, check out that episode first. That was the why. And in this episode, I'm going to share the how. I've found that the most effective way to use rewards with students is by creating a culture of appreciation in the classroom and using unexpected Nowthat rewards. All of the ideas that I talk about today are going to help you build that culture of appreciation. And as part of that, some teachers like to use a whole class reward system. Now, a reward system is different from a behavior management system. Flipping your card and moving your clip, these are behavior management systems. Students are acknowledged when they misbehave. A reward system does not track misbehavior or provide any sort of punitive consequences. Instead, it provides an incentive for students to work hard and exercise self-discipline, and it gives a payoff sometimes when they do. For young students, there's the added benefit of taking very abstract ideas like being responsible and showing respect, and it pairs those abstract ideas up with concrete things that have meaning to students. A whole class reward system can allow you to recognize individual children by giving compliments. And you can accompany that with a token, a bean, a counter, some other small item when they make good choices. So I created a whole class reward system when I was in the classroom called the Bead System. It's a very simple premise. Kids earn beads, which are, they keep them on pipe cleaners. Each child had a pipe cleaner and they could just string them onto the pipe cleaner. They earned them throughout the week and then could trade them in at the end of the week for additional center time. Bead distribution was fairly random and almost always unexpected. The kids never knew when they were going to get a bead because I didn't dangle the promise of a reward ahead of time. I didn't use bribes like, if you're quiet, you get a bead. Instead, I would just give a task as usual and watch for positive actions to reinforce with specific praise and a symbol of the appreciation, which was the bead. I'd say, I love how you kept trying even when the work was hard. Or, you were so patient and supportive when you explained that answer to him. And I'd quietly slip the child a bead. Usually the kids' faces would just glow with satisfaction, knowing they made good choices and it was noticed by someone who cared about him or her. I loved this system because it kept my focus on the positive things kids were doing. And I felt like most of them responded by doing the right thing because it was the right thing to do, not in anticipation of earning a bead. For me, it really did help build that culture of appreciation where the kids knew I was watching for awesome things that they were doing and good choices they were making and recognizing it and giving that verbal feedback along with it. Now, to be honest, I wasn't sure exactly why the system works so well until I read Daniel Pink's book, Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us. Drive isn't a book about education per se. It's a Malcolm Gladwell type of read that compiles research studies into really compelling stories. But most of what Dan Pink talks about is relevant to teachers since one of our biggest and most challenging tasks is getting kids motivated to learn. Pink conducted a number of really fascinating behavioral studies, including a bunch of studies with children, and he wanted to see what factors made them want to work hard and try their best. This is what he writes in the book. When children didn't expect a reward, receiving one had little impact on, as in did not detract from, their intrinsic motivation. Only contingent rewards, if you do this, then you'll get that, had the negative effect on intrinsic motivation. Why? If-then rewards require people to forfeit some of their autonomy, and that can spring a hole in the bottom of their motivational bucket, draining an activity of its enjoyment. So instead of these if-then rewards, Pink recommends Nowthat rewards. Here's the practical application. Think about recess, right? The classic student motivator. If you tell kids that if they get their work done, they'll get to go to recess early or have free time, you take the focus off the work itself. Throughout the assignment and every assignment you give afterwards, the class will be waiting for you to offer their motivation and rushing through the task to get to it. On days when they won't be able to have extra free time at recess, what's the incentive to complete the task? Kids not only expect the reward, but they often start criticizing or questioning the teacher when they don't get one. But the outcome is totally different if you have students complete the assignment and afterwards say, now that they're done, you'll allow some extra recess time. When you expect kids to do their work every day with no mention of reward, and then surprise them occasionally with a gesture that shows appreciation for their ongoing and continual hard work, they will learn to focus their attention on the task and not the reward. You have to intentionally cultivate this culture of appreciation so that kids aren't asking you for rewards all the time and wanting to know, what do I get? Have conversations about this. Explain to them, this extra free time, it's a thank you gift. You can't ask someone for a gift, right? Just like I don't ask you, when are you going to draw me another picture? When are you going to pick me flowers and bring them to me? I just try to be the best teacher I can be. And I accept any recognition, any appreciation that you all give me. So you can't expect the gift of a reward from me. Don't steal my ability to surprise you with something that you love. You just do your job well and do things that inspire gratitude and appreciation in others, regardless of what they give back to you. So when you talk with kids about these things, and then you provide a reward after a job well done, the kids will show gratitude. And there's this really nice moment in the classroom where you're getting to do something really nice for the students that you care about so much, and they actually appreciate it in return. It's just a totally different classroom climate. You're building that culture of appreciation by modeling it for students. We often expect kids to be grateful to us as teachers for all the things we do for them, but how often do we model gratitude for them? How often do we show them how to say thank you, how to show recognition and appreciation? So Nowthat rewards can help you accomplish that, and they can be regularly infused into the school day. And this will help reinforce classroom expectations and let kids know that you notice their good choices. So here's a couple different examples to get you thinking. When students use manipulatives the correct way during a lesson, say, you all did a fabulous job staying on task and practicing your math skills. I'm so proud of you. I'm going to give you the last few minutes of our time to design a pattern or create a design with them any way you choose. Have fun. And then when you incorporate manipulatives again in an upcoming lesson, tell the kids you're doing so because of their hard work and their effort last time. The reward of getting to use those fun materials again is an expression of appreciation to them. Or after kids successfully stay engaged during a tedious test prep activity or another paper and pencil task, announce that you'll let the class complete the last few questions using individual dry erase boards. Kids love to use markers on the boards. And you can get a class set for about $15 using shower board from a home improvement store. So this is something that I think every teacher should have in the classroom. So if you have these individual dry erase boards, you can let the kids decorate their boards and their markers as they work as part of the reward. And use the boards again during the next lesson if the kids are responsible with them. And point out that's why they're getting to use the board so much, because they're making good choices and you're saying thank you to them for those good choices. Another idea is to present differentiated tasks as a Nowthat reward. Even if you were planning to provide choice to students all along, you can still present it as a reward. Tell the class you noticed their hard work on a research project and tell them you're going to let them choose their presentation method. recording a video, writing a blog post, creating a skit, making a movie, and so on. Make a clear connection between the good decisions that they've made and your allowance for more freedom of choice. That is a reward to students. If you finish a lesson early because you didn't have to stop 100 times to redirect behavior, tell the kids that and let them use the time for something fun. Say, you were so focused and attentive today, and I'm really impressed by how well you helped manage our time. And since I wasn't constantly interrupted by kids who were playing around, you were able to learn this material in only 40 minutes instead of 45. That gives us an extra 5 minutes, and we can play a game. Here's a final example. When every person in the class does something truly miraculous, like getting 80% or higher on a test, or turning in all of their projects on time, or behaving really maturely on a field trip, give up your lunch period and eat with the kids in the classroom or outside in an impromptu picnic. Let the kids see that you truly enjoy talking and laughing with them. If you can, go out on the playground together, play a game of kickball or something. Find something that works for your situation and your students. The more that you incorporate these kinds of related Nowthat rewards into your instruction, the better students understand that their behavior impacts the way the classroom is run. And they'll be more motivated to follow the routines and to put in effort. They'll demonstrate a more positive attitude towards you and a greater willingness to work together with their classmates toward a common goal. Just as you've shown gratitude for their efforts, they'll show gratitude for yours, and they'll think carefully about how to show you that they're responsible and that they're ready for additional privileges. If you want to find out about meaningful, effective rewards, I have an online course. It's called the Cornerstone Proactive Behavior Management webinar series. It's a 5-part series that explains how to choose incentives and rewards that work for your students and reinforce self-discipline, as well as shared responsibility for making the classroom run smoothly. The course walks you through everything from teaching routines and procedures to how to respond when students don't meet expectations, all the way to individual behavior plans for students who need extra support. If you want to learn more, just go to thecornerstoneforteachers.com and click on courses at the top of the page. You can watch some free excerpts and you can learn more about how the online course works. So Nowthat rewards, non-contingent rewards that are given after a task is complete, can be effective in reinforcing good choices without undermining intrinsic motivation that we're trying so hard to build. And that's especially true. They're especially effective if the Nowthat reward provides useful information about performance and you give verbal feedback about why the reward was given. That's really the key underlying element that you'll notice in all of these examples. So if Nowthat rewards are effective, even with creative tasks, even with fun tasks, even with inherently authentic, meaningful, engaging work, we still want to make sure that we are not distracting students from the inherent value of the work itself. So is there a time and place ever for if-then rewards? Daniel Pink's research tells us yes. He argues that carrots and sticks aren't all bad. He says they can be effective for rule-based routine tasks, particularly when the person who's giving the reward offers a rationale for why the task is necessary and acknowledges that it's boring and allows people to have some autonomy over how they complete the task. The reason why if-then rewards work for routine tasks, when you say, if you do this, then you will get that, it works for those kinds of tasks, these boring rote tasks, because there's little intrinsic motivation to undermine. There's not much creativity to crush, right? So it makes sense that if-then rewards have been the basis of most classroom behavior management systems in America for so many years. If-then rewards are pretty effective motivators for the rote tasks and drill and kill non-creative tasks that students used to do all day long. But now, in the 21st century, we want our kids to be problem solvers and critical thinkers. The research of people like Daniel Pink shows us that when kids are involved in higher level thinking tasks, we have to inspire them to learn, not bribe them to learn. If you're using a traditional if-then reward system in your classroom and it's working, that might be a sign that most of the assignments you're giving are rule-based routine tasks. Ultimately, we need to think about the type of tasks that we're giving kids in addition to how to reward children for completing them. I've noticed that when I give an assignment that provides kids with a lot of choice and a lot of control over what they're doing, most kids will work pretty diligently, and they'll have a lot of focus. And if you've experienced this in your classroom, then you know one of the most beautiful and rewarding moments of teaching is to look around the room and to see every child eagerly reading and writing and discussing concepts that they're excited to be learning about. When creating more of those moments is our primary goal, we don't have to worry so much about creating a reward system or how we're rewarding students. We can just show appreciation for our students' efforts with Nowthat rewards. But rewards will never drive instruction, and they'll never be the primary reason why students are doing the work. We can build a culture of appreciation when kids are working on meaningful tasks and we simply recognize all that they're accomplishing. So here's the takeaway truth that I want you to remember this week. Show kids in every way possible that reward follows work. Inspire them with work that matters. Give them tasks that are inherently rewarding and satisfying to complete, and join them in recognizing and celebrating their accomplishments. Thanks for listening, and have a fantastic week. You can do this, and remember, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be worth it. Truth for Teachers is a proud member of the Education Podcast Network. Podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. For more great podcast recommendations, go to edupodcastnetwork.com. That's edupodcastnetwork.com.